The best old-time radio from people you trust. The Radio Nostalgia Network, where the oldies are still young.
It's a foggy night, a perfect night for a mystery. Tonight, Mystery Theater presents Mystery Thriller.
Detective Hugo, Special Case Squad.
I want to report a homicide on the Bailey Canal. There was this big plastic bag, and I could see her hair. A young woman, she's naked, dead.
Hold on, let me see who's available.
Hello? Detective? Hello?
Everyone's out now, even Inspector Chen. But I can come. Whereabouts in the canal are you?
West of Jingpu, about 7 miles past Shanghai No. 2 paper mill.
Wait for me there, and don't touch anything.
Inspector Chen, Death of a Red Heroine, by Zhu Xiaolong, dramatised by Joy Wilkinson.
"13 million people live in Shanghai. Families of 2 or 3 generations squeezed into single rooms. It's not surprising some people at the Bureau aren't happy with me. A single man gets allocated an entire apartment ahead of those with longer service or large families. They think it's another instance of the unfair new Carter policy. Another instance of Inspector Chen's good fortune. The educated youth who had been spared re-education in the countryside. Allowed to stay in the city and learn English. Handed a good job at the Shanghai Police Bureau with opportunities, privileges. That's how it seems to them anyway. But things are never that simple. I try not to think about it. Put their complaints out of my mind and concentrate on the cooking for my housewarming party.
Sorry I'm so early. I escaped as soon as my copy was filed. Couldn't wait to have a look around.
Oh, make yourself at home. I'm nearly done here.
Wang Feng, my first guest. A reporter from the Wenhui Daily. A friend. Maybe more.
Congratulations, Chief Inspector Chen. What a spacious apartment.
I'm glad you like it.
And a bathroom, too.
It's just a shower pipe. Cold water, but yes, I'm lucky. Would you like some Shoshing wine?
Look at that view. It's almost like a picture.
You turn it into an artwork, standing there. Waist so slender, weightless. She dances on my palm.
What's that?
An image from Li Yu, the poet-emperor. He feared his favourite concubine would break in two if he held her too tightly. His line fails to do justice to you.
More bogus compliments from the Tang dynasty. Thank you, my poetic Chief Inspector.
Poetically alone.
Now you have your own place, there's no excuse for you to stay celibate.
Well, introduce some girls to me then.
You need my help. You're a rising political star.
Thanks to your article.
The people's policeman, saving the city by day and toiling into the night, translating poetry and mystery novels to broaden the horizon of his expertise.
Are you sure that's my motivation?
I'm sure the extra cash comes in handy. But no, I think you do it for the love.
It's been over a year since we met.
Time is a bird. It perches and it flies.
That's one of mine.
Parting. You must have been parted from someone very dear to you.
You must know what that's like, Wang Feng.
You should get it. Could be one of your guests.
Hi, Chen speaking.
It's Detective Yu Guanming, Special Case Squad, reporting a homicide. A young woman's body in a canal west of Qingpu County.
I'll be on my way.
No need, Inspector. I've already examined the scene. I just wanted to let you know that I came. There was no one else to take the case.
That's okay. Even if it's not a special case, we should respond if no one else is available.
I'll make a more detailed report tomorrow morning. Please excuse me if I'm disturbing you in your new apartment.
Don't mention it, Detective Yu. I'll see you tomorrow.
Are you all right? Has something happened?
A new case at work, but it's been taken care of.
And here are your other guests. Let the party begin.
The zither, for no reason, has half of its strings broken. One string, one peg, evoking the memory of the youthful years. The party goes on around me, but all I can think of are those lines. Why? Because of the murder case? The young woman? A life wasted in its prime? The broken strings? The lost sounds? Was it about her? Or me? Nothing here is simple. Chinese carders used to rise slowly, step by step. If someone reached a high level, they could stay there till the end. Now the new rules mean they have to retire. Someone young and educated can get promoted, move faster. The head of the Bureau's homicide department has retired, but no successor has been announced yet. I've been put in charge of the special case squad to prove myself.
Good morning, Chief Inspector Chen. Here, my report.
You must have worked late last night, Detective Yu.
And early this morning.
Go and get yourself some tea while I read this.
Thank you, Inspector.
The body. A dead woman. Nameless. Naked. Found in a black plastic bag on Bailey Canal. Late 20s, early 30s, 5'4", around 110 pounds. Toenails painted scarlet. No rings on her well-manicured fingers. It's possible that she had sexual intercourse before her death. Only a faint line of bruising around her neck. Barely visible. No signs that she had struggled much. Possible cause of death? Strangulation in combination with sexual assault.
We got the first photos through. She can't have been in the water long. 20 hours or so.
What do you think happened to her, Detective Yu?
Raped and murdered on a boat and dumped in the canal. Or raped and murdered somewhere else and then transported to the canal.
Not on a boat. There'd be no need to wrap the body.
Then it could have happened anywhere.
Have you checked the missing persons list?
No one fits a description. What do you think happened?
Nothing's definite until we've had the full forensics report. Maybe it was a taxi driver. We've had similar cases. But again, why would he need to use a bag?
Maybe he just happened to have one in his car.
It could have been an acquaintance who used the bag to move the body to the car from the crime scene.
Not too many people have their own cars. Only high carders. And a chauffeur wouldn't get involved in this.
The number of private cars is growing. We can't rule it out. Let's say the murderer was an acquaintance. The next question is, why? Was it a secret affair? Was she pregnant?
Definitely not. And they always are in those cases. Almost without exception.
Almost.
There's nothing we can do until we know her identity. I could check with the taxi bureau, but there's at least 10,000 taxis in Shanghai.
What do you think we should do, Detective?
Do we have to take the case?
Well, that's a good question.
I only took the call because no one else was here. It's not a so-called special case. Nothing political about it. We have no clues or witnesses. It's already cold, and our squad is short of men right now. There's only really you and me.
I'll talk to Party Secretary Lee. You, get this photo, cropped and circulated. Someone might recognise her. And I'll go out to the canal later.
It's a poetic scene. You might be inspired to write a few wonderful lines.
You never can tell.
Detective Yu doesn't know the full story behind my good fortune. Once I was a published poet and a top student at Beijing Foreign Language Institute. Then I applied to an MA program in English and American literature, but I was informed that a job had been assigned to me in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. They said it was a good job for an English major. I should count myself lucky, even though I had no interest in being a diplomat. But at the last minute, a check revealed my uncle was a counter-revolutionary in the 1950s. This made my diplomatic career politically unthinkable. I was assigned to the Shanghai Police Bureau instead, writing political reports for Party Secretary Lee. I only became a proper cop 2 years ago. I've done my best, but my academic past, my rapid rise, and my literary pursuits, they don't endear me to people like Detective Yu. I have to prove myself to him, too.
Is everything satisfactory with your new apartment, Comrade Chief Inspector?
Everything's good, thank you, Party Secretary Lee.
And your work on the squad?
A murder case came in yesterday. We're wondering if we should take it.
Turn it over to homicide.
Detective Yu went to the scene. It feels like it's ours.
You may not have time for it. I found out this morning. You've been chosen to attend the Central Party Institute seminar in Beijing in October.
Really?
A great opportunity, isn't it? I recommended you.
You've done so much for me, Party Secretary Lee. In fact, that's another reason for us to take this case. I don't feel I can be a chief inspector without solving some cases on my own.
Well, it's up to you. But you have to be prepared for the seminar. It could mean a great deal for your future career.
Thank you. I won't let you down.
I go to the canal. I read the preliminary autopsy report, but neither gives me the sense of exultation I'm hoping for. Detective Yu is right. The trail is cold. If some evidence appears, we can take the case or relinquish it. Time will tell. But all the time, I keep thinking of her. Naked, dead, in the water, while I was celebrating in my new apartment, talking about Tang Dynasty poetry with a beautiful young woman.
Comrade Chief Inspector, you're such a busy, important official that you forget all your friends.
I promise I haven't forgotten you, Wang Feng.
I hear that your name is on the list for the Central Party Institute seminar. We should throw another party for your inevitable promotion.
How about having lunch with me next week instead?
I have a second piece of good news. Our paper has decided to publish a poem of yours called Miracle.
That's fantastic. How did you...
I like that line. The rain has washed your shoulder-length hair green. Sounds more like a mermaid than a Shanghai policewoman devoted to her work.
I have turned you into several poems, Wang Feng.
You never quit, do you?
I definitely owe you lunch now.
Chief Inspector Chen.
I have to go. I'll see you next week then.
We'll see.
What is it, Detective Yu?
I've been thinking about the girl in the canal.
Have you?
A professional manicure. She must have been from Shanghai.
She could have been one of those provincials who work in the fancy hotels.
A colleague of mine married one of those girls. He was shocked when she took her shoes off. How calloused and cracked her feet were.
Have any more missing persons reports come in?
None that matches the description.
What if we write another description? Not of a corpse, of a human being. Vivid, concrete, specific. What she would have looked like alive.
It's worth a try, as long as I don't have to write it.
The poetic chief inspector has his uses. My redraft is poetic in places. She was so beautiful that the fish and the geese dive in shame. But elsewhere it can only be prosaic. Her last meal was pork chops, mashed potatoes, green beans and caviar. Detective Yu circulates it once more across the city. Within a week, we know her name.
Guan Hong Ying. Hong for the colour red, Ying for heroine. A red heroine.
A revolutionary name. It sounds familiar.
She was a national model worker. Age 31, single. She worked at the Shanghai First Department Store for more than 10 years. Head of the cosmetics section. Party member for 11 years. She left on May 10th to go on vacation and never came back.
A national model worker. This could be a special case after all. I'd better tell Party Secretary Lee.
An emergency case conference is called. Party Secretary Lee, Detective Yu, myself, and Commissar Zhang, a high-ranking political hardliner of the older generation. He's supposed to be retired, but for some reason he's still here.
Thank you for coming, Commissar Zhang.
Whatever I can do to help, Party Secretary Lee.
Zhang doesn't like me. He thinks I'm a liberal, though he's managed to stop short of saying so.
This is a case of paramount political importance, comrades. The mayor himself just telephoned. His instructions are for you to solve the case as soon as possible, hold no press conferences, and do not reveal any details concerning her death.
But it's a homicide case. We have to appeal for help.
Comrade Guan could have been murdered out of political considerations. She was a role model for the whole country. Her death is a symbolic blow to the public scrutiny of our socialist society.
The way she was killed so brutally, it could damage the pure image of our great party.
Quite so, Commissar Zhang. You will act as advisor for the investigation, which is to be led by Chief Inspector Chen with Detective Yu as his assistant.
What if it's just a homicide case?
Then we will still solve it. But we must be aware that it has sensitive aspects. It must be handled carefully.
We understand, Party Secretary Lee. With Comrade Zhang as advisor, I'm sure we will solve the case. May I speak with you alone for a moment?
Very well. Good luck, Commissar. Detective Hugh.
Thank you, sir.
Be sure to keep me apprised, Chief Inspector Chen.
Of course, Commissar. I had understood that Commissar Zhang was to retire, in accordance with the new cadre policy.
That is the policy. But with inflation, the cost of living, it can be difficult to live on a pension. The party is keen to take care of its old comrades. So as long as they're in good health, they can do some work appropriate to their age and still enjoy full pay. But it's not so bad. He is incorruptible. And it's in your interest to work with a comrade of the older generation. Just keep him informed on the investigation. You'll still have full authority.
Thank you, Party Secretary.
I can see what I'm in for. 4 or 5 phone calls a day from the Commissar, long lectures with quotations from Mao, Deng and the People's Daily. The constant suppressing of yawns. I hope Detective Yu is right and this is just a homicide. But how can it be? Isn't everything here political?
Was Guan really that important?
A national model worker is always important.
Do you really believe that?
No, I don't. It's just political myth-making. But I suppose it's needed even more now. A few upstarts live in luxury, many others struggle to get by. People need to believe in the selfless communist model.
Those high carders and their children, the HCC, they have everything they want and take it all for granted.
One was a pretty young woman, a role model, worth a lot to the propaganda ministry.
I don't think this is political. I think she was attacked on her way to her vacation, raped and strangled to death by a stranger. Probably the taxi driver.
Can you check back with the taxi bureau?
I have a theory about rapists. Most are repeat offenders. Sooner or later they'll slip up and get caught. Until then, there's nothing the police can do without clues or concrete evidence.
So we just keep waiting for more girls to die?
OK. I'll check back with the bureau.
Good. Then go to the Shanghai First Department Store, interview Guan's colleagues, and call the journalists who interviewed her for any recent press coverage. See if they have any insights, in strictest confidence. We need to find out everything we can about her. We need to solve this, Detective Yu, not because it's political, but because we're good cops, okay?
Okay.
Detective Yu probably doesn't think I'm a good cop, but there was something, just for a moment, when I said I didn't believe in all the propaganda. He seemed surprised, pleasantly. Like I may have won a little respect. Perhaps I imagined it.
No doubt in my mind, son. It's a cold-blooded murder case.
Must we talk about this at the table, old hunter? Please, Guan Ning.
Sorry, my love. There's nowhere else to talk about it, is there? I waited till Chen Chen left for school, at least. But I value my father's opinion. And yours.
Delicious soup, Chen.
It's steaming beef noodles with green scallions. Would you like some more, old hunter?
Our party secretary thinks there's a political angle.
Don't give me that. An old horse knows the way, as the saying goes. Thank you. If a murder case isn't solved in the first couple of weeks, the chance of ever solving it drops off to 0. Politics or no.
The top brass won't give us a break, especially Commissar Zhang.
Don't talk to me about him either. He was a pain in my backside for 30 years. As for your chief inspector, well, I can see why he wants to go on with the case. There's politics involved for him, his future.
Yeah, he's so good at politics. Not like us.
I'm not against him, though. All those years I spent in the force, I can judge a man. Heaven is above his head, the earth is under his feet. I think Inspector Chen knows that.
He's not that experienced, but he seems honest, conscientious and clever, of course.
You're all those things too, Guan Ming. Where is your new apartment? You do too much for too little.
I'm not like him, Pei Chin. Maybe I was born a mistake. A snake can never become a dragon.
Don't say that. You're my dragon. You always will be.
Not at the table, please.
It's all right, Father. I have to go to work, even if this investigation is futile.
Guan would never talk about her private life. Said it was all about the work for her, and the party, of course. The first day I came to work here, she gave us all a lecture on the party's plain living tradition. She made a point of wearing no perfume, no jewellery, but a few months ago I saw her wearing a diamond necklace.
A genuine diamond necklace?
Well, I wouldn't know the difference. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I mean, it is the 90s after all. People are changing. Like this vacation. She'd only just been on one 6 months ago. Last October it was.
Last October? Do you know where she went?
The Yellow Mountains, I think.
Did she go there alone?
Couldn't tell you. She swore she'd never dated anyone. But I can tell you, when she left for work this last vacation, she made a phone call.
Do you know who she called?
Well, that was her business, not mine. But it was only a short call, and then she was off.
Was there anything else about her that night? Anything at all, Yacheng? However small it may seem?
She might have worn a light touch of eyeshadow. I mean, that's nothing, I know. We get a lot of free samples, but it's hardly the plain living tradition, is it?
While Detective Yu interviews Guan's colleagues, I'm enduring the wisdom of Commissar Zhang.
It's a difficult case, Comrade Chief Inspector. But as Chairman Mao said during the Cultural Revolution, don't be afraid of hardship or death.
I'm afraid I have to go now to visit Guan's dorm.
Oh, that's important. There may be some vital evidence in her room. Keep me informed of anything you find.
Absolutely, Commissar. Goodbye now.
Now, about me. I also need to do something and not just be some ruminating bystander.
You're a veteran cadre. You shouldn't be undertaking routine investigations. We can do all that, and you can give us the benefit of your wise advice.
Very well. Make sure you report back to me later.
Guan Hongying's address is number 18, Lane 235, Hubei Road. I ask around, but no one's heard of the lane. Not even the old man at the phone kiosk, or the young hoodlums lounging by the grocery store. I check in with the bureau librarian. Discover the real name was Qinghe Lane, a notorious brothel in the 1920s. No wonder people have put it out of their minds. Guan's building was subdivided even before the revolution, to fit in more girls. Small rooms, one bed in each. It was easy to turn such a place into a dorm after 1949. Now each room houses a family. Each floor has a shared bathroom. Its smell permeates the corridor, which is lined with stoves, pots, pans, piles of coal and cabbages. Guan's room is on the second floor, across from the bathroom. Not a desirable location. Her room is tiny, a bed neatly made. No mattress, just hardboard. An empty ashtray. No sign that she entertained anyone here before her death. Maybe it's too tidy. On the wall is a framed photograph of Guan, making a presentation at the National Model Workers' Conference, applauded by high-ranking cadres, and a framed portrait of Comrade Deng Xiaoping. On the top shelf of her wardrobe is a large collection of underwear. Lacy. Erotic. In striking contrast with the rest of her wardrobe. Had she really been a single woman? There's no one else pictured in her photo albums. No romantic partners, at least. Lots of party leaders. In the shots from her personal life, she's alone. But who took this close-up of her wearing only a white bath towel? Or this shot, kneeling in a bathing suit, hair tousled, eyes lit up from within? Who developed these pictures? A state-run studio would have refused such images of bourgeois decadence. A private studio might have threatened to sell them, to ruin her reputation as a model worker. At the back of the album, the last few pages are blank. I put it back in its place and go talk to the neighbours.
She was a celebrity, too good for us.
So you never talked to her?
She never talked to me. Nothing but meaningless words. Nice day, and so on. But that evening I did see her leaving. She was going downstairs with a heavy suitcase. Excuse me.
Sorry.
It was late. 10:30 maybe. I looked out of the window, but there was no taxi waiting.
That's very helpful, Comrade Yuan. If there's anything else you can tell me...
Oh, old Comrade Chen, from upstairs. He's passed on now, but he liked Guan. He'd been a model teacher, only at district level, but he said he understood. Said, once you're a role model, you're model-shaped.
Like wearing a mask. The mask becomes you.
I suppose no one can wear a mask all the time.
Perhaps that's why she didn't speak to you.
Last year, before he died, Chen was ill. Couldn't sleep. He told me there was one night, very late, he heard this strange sound. He reckoned it was Gwan crying her heart out.
Alone?
She never had any visitors. When she was alive, at least.
But since? You've seen someone come to her room?
About a week ago, I saw a stranger coming from the end of the corridor. He might have been coming from the bathroom, but guests are usually accompanied.
What did he look like?
Tall, well-dressed, mid-30s, maybe. The lights dim out there, it's hard to tell.
Who can control stories? The stories after one's life. The whole village is jumping at the romantic tale of General Tsai. Lu Yo's poem about a fictitious romance in the late Han Dynasty, about how people love the tale whether it is authentic or not. How could Guan have been secretly dating someone? Rumours in this dorm would have spread like wildfire. And it would have taken a lot of courage for a man to come to that room, to that hardboard bed.
Comrade Yuan was helpful, but we're no closer to solving the case.
I've got nowhere with the taxi bureau, all the journalists. Spoke to the photographer who took most of the recent pictures, but it was the same old story. National model worker. Very nice girl, but gave nothing away of her private life.
But she did have a private life. The photo album proves it.
And the underwear, by the sounds of it.
Call around the travel agencies. Find out if she was booked on a vacation with them, or if she'd been away with them before, to the Yellow Mountains.
That'll be Commissar Zhang. You want me to tell him you're out?
No, I'd better take it. But thank you. Chen speaking. Commissar, I was just about to call you.
5 days later, Commissar Zhang calls a case conference with myself and Detective Yu to assess our progress. Zhang was fixated on the political angle and not impressed by my poem, Miracle, printed in today's paper.
Light green in your policewoman's uniform like the spring, white blossoms bursting from your arms reach. What is that all about, Chief Inspector?
It's just a poem about our police work, Commissar.
Next time, if there's something in an influential newspaper, you should inform me beforehand.
Sorry. I didn't think it related to our case.
And yet our case is where we need a miracle, where your energies need to be directed.
I appreciate your advice, Commissar. As always.
Rely on the people. That's where our strength lies. Chairman Mao told us, once we get the people's help, there is no difficulty we cannot overcome.
There's not much more we can do, Commissar. I say we let the case run its course. Eventually, we should be able to find the murderer, but that takes time. We have to be realistic.
People are watching our work, Detective. We cannot fail. We need to find a new approach. And you won't find it in that autopsy report, Chief Inspector Chen. I tell you, we'll find it in the people.
Wait. Look at her last meal. Caviar. There are, maybe 4 Shanghai restaurants that serve caviar? She left home at 10:30 p.m, died between 1 and 2 a.m. Did she really eat caviar in one of those restaurants at midnight with her heavy suitcase alone? Or did she dine with someone else? Someone who kept caviar at home?
Hold on. Are you suggesting Guan knew her killer?
It makes sense of the caviar. And the plastic bag. The choice of that faraway canal and the fact that she had sex, it wasn't necessarily rape.
All my sources say she wasn't seeing anyone.
Then we have to dig deeper, Detective Yu. Find out what was really going on in her personal life.
Well, you'd better get on with it then. At least it's preferable to waiting for another murder.
Thank you, Commissar. I'll keep you updated.
I'd overlooked the caviar. Sorry.
It only just occurred to me. Otherwise, I'd have discussed it with you beforehand.
Congratulations, Inspector. On the poem.
Oh. Thank you, Detective.
Detective Yu is not the only admirer of my poem. When I get home, there's a parcel waiting. A rare collection of Yen Shu's poems. A present from Beijing. Guan Hongying was not the only one to have a hidden private life.
Dear Chief Inspector Chen, thank you for sending me your poem in the Wanhui Daily. Sorry I cannot send you anything of my own in return. I thought you might like this instead. Congratulations on your promotion. With best regards, Ling.
Helpless the flowers fall. The swallows return, seemingly no strangers. I have that feeling, strange and familiar, of having visited Guan's world. The feeling of this case mixed with my memories of college in Beijing. Memories of Ling. No one in the bureau knew the full story of Inspector Chen's good fortune. The poor student at Beijing Foreign Language Institute who met a high-carder girl in the library and fell in love. Then had to let her go. Helpless the flowers fall. Politics was a shell. It did not spell the absence of a personal life. Not for Guan, or for me.
Chen speaking.
I was promised lunch by my poetic chief inspector.
Wang Feng, I'm so sorry. Can you meet me in the Riverside Cafe in 30 minutes?
What mask are you wearing at the moment? Policeman or poet?
What mask? How about a lover, head over heels?
You're still impossible, even in the middle of a murder investigation. Is that what you were thinking about?
Do you think a single young woman would go travelling alone to the Yellow Mountains?
Transport is a nightmare. So is finding a hotel. I had to go with a group.
Her name isn't on any of the travel agency records for group trips. Maybe her colleague was mistaken and she went somewhere else.
Didn't she have any holiday snaps in her room?
She did have a photo album. I could check again. That's a good thought. Thank you, Wang Feng.
And now you can't wait to get away to investigate. This case is obsessing you, isn't it, Chief Inspector?
Not as much as you. I was just thinking of the lines, with the green skirt of yours in my mind everywhere. Everywhere I step over the grass ever so lightly.
You don't have to cover yourself by quoting poetry. I have to get back to my work too.
Come to dinner at my place this weekend. Just us.
To talk more about the investigation?
If you like.
Not this weekend. I'll check my calendar. Let you know.
I go back to Guan's room, look through the albums and find photos of Guan in the mountains. Looking up at a peak. Sat on a jutting rock. Perched on the windowsill of a hotel room, her tunic almost transparent. But not a single image of her with anyone else. The portrait of Comrade Deng Xiaoping looks down at me, frustrated. I look again and find, tucked inside of the back cover of the album, a Polaroid of a grey-haired lady, the mountains behind her. On the back is written, to Comrade Zhao De, from Wei Hong, October 1989. Zhao De is a common pet name. Is that what this woman had called Guan? Is that what Guan called herself when she booked the trip? There's a phone kiosk outside. I stop, wondering whether to call Detective Yu or head straight back to the bureau. The old man from the kiosk tugs my sleeve.
Are you not going to consult me, Chief Inspector?
Sorry?
Uncle Bao. I take phone messages for the residents. I'm also a member of the Residents Committee, keeping an eye on the dorm building security.
You're right. Of course. I should have come to you. Did you know Comrade Guan Hongying?
She was a fine member of the party.
Did she have any visitors?
Not that I can recall, but she did use the phone a lot.
Did you overhear anything that could be useful?
It would not be proper for me to listen into people, but I can tell you that in the last 6 months, she made several calls late at night. Too late for party business or her job.
Someone with a private phone, perhaps? Was there ever a call from an older lady, someone called Wei Hong?
I don't think so. Most of the late-night calls I took for her were from a man with a strong Beijing accent.
Is there any way to trace the phone numbers?
Well, not the number she dialed, but the calls she got are recorded on the message slips. I gave her the slips, but I always write the number on the stub as well, in case the slips get lost.
I don't suppose you've kept the stubs, have you, comrade?
Well, may be able to dig some out. It will take some time.
Call me immediately if you find something, especially for May 10th. Thank you, Uncle Bao.
Don't mention it, Comrade Chief Inspector. What is a Residents Committee member for?
So Guan had not been too lonely, At least not towards the end of her life. She had someone to call after 10 p.m. I'd never call Wang Feng so late. Back at the bureau, I tried to call you to tell him about our possible breakthroughs, but then I remember it's his day off. I imagine Detective Yu is never lonely.
The only way I can make sense of it is Guan was kind of like a hermit crab. Politics formed her shell.
Well, I don't know much about police investigations, but don't tell me an attractive young woman could have lived like that. She must have had affairs.
She was too busy, Pei Chin. It was difficult for someone in her position to find someone.
Laugh at me, Guanming, but I just don't believe it. It's the 90s.
None of her colleagues could tell me anything.
What about her ex-colleagues? A single woman is not likely to talk about her affairs to younger women, but maybe someone who's known her for longer.
I suppose I could try and track down some former staff.
She sounds like your chief inspector. Surely an eligible bachelor like him must have someone too.
Some say he's been seeing a reporter from the Wenhui Daily. He reckons it's just about an article.
He wouldn't say if it was anything else, would he? Like Guan, you see?
Pei Chin, very extraordinary.
I still remember so clearly those days in the faraway countryside being re-educated, lying alone at night, longing for you, Guanming, longing for us both to be back in the city. It was almost unbearable.
Well, we're here now.
Do you think we should invite your inspector over for dinner one night? I can get some Yanchen Lake crabs from work. It might be nice for both of you.
I don't know. Maybe.
I have nothing to do tonight, so I wait in the office in case Uncle Bao calls. I am not disappointed.
I found 36 stubs between February and May. Calls made to Comrade Guan from the number 867-831, many after 9 p.m. The caller's surname is Wu. Well, I said he was from Beijing, but now I'm not sure.
Was there anything from the night of May the 10th?
A message stub from the same caller. It says, "We'll meet as scheduled." Those may not have been his exact words. I only write down the gist.
Was that call from the same number?
Well, I didn't write the number down as the caller did not request a call back. Presumably whatever he wanted to say could wait until they met.
Or whatever he wanted to do.
The next morning, I'm waiting in the office when Detective Yu arrives.
Good morning, Inspector Chen. You're here early?
And late last night. Look.
I show him the stubs from Uncle Bao. Fill him in on my latest discoveries from the telephone and travel bureaus.
867-831.
It's a residential number. The telephone bureau says they're not authorised to reveal the owner's name without an official letter. And the assistant in charge of our official seal is off till Monday.
So there's nothing we can do until then?
I'm going to track down the tour guide from Guan's trip to the Yellow Mountains. I found the names Wei Hong and Zheng Xiaode on a group trip run by the East Wind Travel Agency. The guide was a woman called Little Xie Rung. She's left the agency now, but I have her last address, so I'm going over there this morning. Then I'll go to Wei Hong's, the woman who wrote on the photo. Find out what she knows, whether Guan had any company on the trip.
I was thinking I should interview some of Guan's former colleagues. She might have confided in them more openly.
Good idea. Let's catch up later. It finally feels like we're getting somewhere. That'll be Commissar Zhang. Will you tell him?
No problem, sir. Detective Yu Guanming. Good morning, Commissar. No, I'm afraid you just missed him.
Little Xie is my daughter. She was a tour guide, but now she's gone to Guangzhou.
When will she be back?
I don't know. Is she in trouble?
She could be a witness. It's important I speak to her.
Oh, please. Well, I'm sorry, Inspector. She wrote to me from the hotel saying she was moving, that she would send me her address, but since then I've had nothing.
Are you telling me that you don't know where she is or what she's doing?
Hard to believe, isn't it? And she's my only daughter. It's the modern age. Things fall apart. The centre cannot hold.
Are you Professor Xiekun?
But retired, yes. Well, I hadn't expected a high-ranking police officer to know my work.
The Modernist Muse is one of my favourites.
But even Heroine hasn't read it. She has no interest in literature. And, really, why should she when she can earn 3 times my salary working at hotels and travel agencies and, well, who knows what else?
Could you give me a recent photo of her?
Oh, of course. Please, if you find her, tell her I'm praying for her to come back. Here.
I will. And I'm sure as the economy improves, people will change their minds about literature.
You know what they say these days, the poorest is a PhD, the dumbest is a professor. I happen to be both. Forgive me if I don't share your hope.
Honest intellectuals viewed as the poorest and dumbest.
Goodbye.
China is changing rapidly.
Thanks for your help.
But I have no time to worry about that now. I go to Wei Hong's apartment. I recognize the grey-haired woman immediately from Guan's hidden Polaroid.
Comrade Wei Hong, this photograph was taken of you in the Yellow Mountains last October.
Well, how did you get hold of that?
You gave it to a woman you called Zhao De. Her real name was Guan Hongying. She was a national model worker.
Her name was definitely Zhao De. That's what her Xian Xiong called her.
She had a boyfriend with her.
They travelled together and shared their hotel room. I assumed they were married.
Do you know his name?
She called him Little Tiger. Just a nickname. We were never formally introduced.
Was he tall, well-dressed, with a Beijing accent?
That's right. He had a fine foreign camera, too.
Did he take lots of photos of Guan, of Zhao De?
Yes, he did. What's happened? Is Zhao De in trouble?
Guan is dead. Murdered.
You should talk to Little Jia, our guide. I believe she knew more about them. She had a big fight with Zhao De. Guan, I mean, in the mountains. Guan called Little Jia a whore.
If you remember anything else, please do call us.
Did Little Tiger kill her?
We don't know.
The tall stranger in the corridor at Guan's dorm. The polite gentleman who called her late at night. The man with an expensive camera in the mountains. I can't wait till Monday to jump through the hoops of the telephone bureau. In my briefcase, I have stationery with the official letterhead. I can write the letter myself and pray no one will notice the seal is missing. Then I can get a name. The man who killed Guan.
You're Lai Guojian, 34 years old, correct?
That's right, Detective. What is this about? I don't...
10 years ago, you worked at the Shanghai First Department Store for a brief period, during which time you dated Guan Hongying, correct?
I couldn't say. Did she tell you that?
Another former colleague told me she believed that there was something between the two of you. Guan never spoke of it, and now she can't. She's dead.
Guan? How?
Was my informant correct? Were you dating?
I haven't seen her for 10 years. Except in the papers now and then. She's a national model worker.
If that's what you don't want to say, forget it. We need the truth now.
It was the summer of 1980. Guan was only 22. Very pretty, but awkward. Innocent. Somehow we clicked without needing to say much. I went to one of her presentations at the Youth Palace. She was a totally different person on stage.
Different in what way?
She seemed so confident, had such conviction. But with me, she'd never talk politics. She was much more interested in...
In what?
Within the month, we became lovers.
At your instigation?
Do I have to answer all these kind of questions?
Your boss may be interested if you're not willing to help our investigation.
We went to a party, and while we were dancing, I could tell that she was getting excited. She wanted to stay behind afterwards. I had a new camera from my brother in Japan. I took a few photos of her.
With her clothes on?
At first, and then she took her clothes off in front of me. I took a photo and we kissed and...
You had sexual intercourse with her?
It was her idea, I swear. She was really clear.
Was it her first time?
I thought so. I started talking about marriage, but after a few weeks, she dumped me. I couldn't understand it. I started to wonder if she might be a nymphomaniac.
Was there anything abnormal about her sexual behaviour?
She was uninhibited. Biting and screaming. Crying sometimes. The last time I saw her, when she said it was over, she offered to sleep with me again. I said no. If her heart was going to leave me forever, what was the point of having her body for one more night?
Thank you for your cooperation.
Good work, Detective Yu. That background could be very useful when we go to interview our suspect. Here. Look.
I thought we couldn't get the records till Monday.
Just look at the name.
867831, residential classified, Wu Bing.
The Shanghai Minister for Propaganda.
Isn't he in hospital on his last legs?
He has a son who still lives at home. Wu Xiaoming.
Let me guess. Tall, well-dressed, Beijing accent.
And has access to his father's car, a white Lexus. He's married too, so even more reason to keep an affair with Guan secret.
Hang on. Wu Xiaoming? I spoke to him already. He's the photographer for Red Star magazine. He took photos of Guan for the press.
And for her personal photo album too, when they shared a hotel room, as if they were married.
These seedy, high-carders children. It's about time somebody held them to account.
It won't be that simple.
Well, we can't let him get away with it.
We can't go around there unprepared and interrogate an HCC. We have to be smart.
HCC bastards!
Look, we've done as much as we can for today. And we've done well. Let's sleep on it and go over there in the morning.
I don't suppose you want to come over for dinner tonight. My wife suggested it, if you'd like to.
Oh, thank you. That's very kind, but I have someone coming over tonight. Wang Feng, the reporter. She's going to give me some background on Wu.
All right, never mind. Some other time, maybe.
I don't know if Detective Yu believes me. Wang Feng is coming over. She is going to give me background on Wu. But Yu's detective instincts are strong. That's not all she's coming over for. We both know it. We eat oysters, drink wine. We sit close together, almost touching.
Wu Xiaoming was born with a silver spoon in his mouth. Now, in the Cultural Revolution, it all changed. Wu saw his parents thrown into prison, where his mother died. Wu was homeless, forced to labour, until his father was let out in the late 70s and awarded a symbolic position, given back his mansion. Wu married a girl from another high-carder family and became picture editor of Red Star magazine. He knows people at the top, and there's talk of him being promoted to a new position. Cultural minister, maybe. He's also on the list for your seminar.
As an ancient saying goes, foes must meet in a narrow path. I'm not worried about that. What I need is a motive. Circumstantial evidence may point to Wu, but we need a reason for him to have done it.
I don't know if I can give you that, but this may help. I ran a search on his work. There's lots for Red Star, the Evening Post for us, and then there was this.
Flower City magazine.
Fashion shots. Semi-nude. Not illegal, but controversial. In some, you can't see the girls' faces.
You think one of them might be Guan?
It could at least give you a reason to talk to him, but...
Be careful. I know. Thank you, Wang Feng.
Now I have to ask you a favour.
Anything.
You've never asked me about Yang, my husband.
Neither of us have ever mentioned Yang. He defected to Japan and never came back. Even if Wang Feng gets divorced, her file will be stained. A woman who has been married is not culturally desirable, not for an emerging party member cadre. But what is the point of being a chief inspector if I can't be with a woman I like? We're very close now. Her leg touching mine.
I've never asked because it's not important to me.
His college is demanding compensation for his education, salary, everything. I have to pay, or I can't get the document for my passport. I wondered if you could perhaps say something to the passport department of your bureau, so I can get one without the document.
You want to get a passport to go to Japan?
I have an authorized application from my work unit, but I need one from Yang's too. Unless you can help.
You want to be with him?
There's not much between us, but he's got a job for me at a Chinese TV station in Tokyo.
A promising career. But you have one of those here.
In which I have to pile lies upon lies to report news in the party's interest.
Things are changing.
Sure. When I'm old and grey, I may get to write what I want. But I'm not like you, Chen. You can really do something here. A candidate for the seminar can go a long way in China. I can only hold you back. This is the best thing for us both.
And even if it's not, you're still going to Japan?
Not straight away. We can be together. Tonight.
The words come back to me from the tape. If her heart was going to leave me forever, what was the point of having her body for one more night? What is the point?
Chen, are you angry?
I don't think it's good for us to see each other. Not this way. We can stay friends. I'll speak to the passport department. See what they can do.
I know how much I owe you.
What's a friend for? You'd better go now.
Some things a man will do, some things a man will not do. A Confucian truism my father taught me. Maybe deep inside I am traditional, politically correct. I might come to regret it, but I can't be with her like that and let her go. All I can do now is solve the case.
Does Wu know we're coming?
No. It's a surprise.
A surprised snake will bite back.
I'll let you start asking the questions, then I'll bite. Shanghai Police, here to see Wu Xiaoming.
Good morning, Chief Inspector Chen. And Detective Yu, I believe we've spoken on the phone.
Yeah. You told me you barely knew Guan Hongying, that you'd only met her for a few photo sessions.
I'm not sure exactly how long we've spent together. Sometimes you have to take a lot of shots.
Last October, you took a trip to the Yellow Mountains together, according to the East Wind travel agency.
Yeah, I happened to mention the trip to Guan, and she was interested in it too.
But you didn't use your own names.
Well, she was a celebrity. And with my family background...
You have to show your ID to use a travel agency.
They're not too strict about it. As a professional photographer, I travel a lot. I know the ropes.
Well, Mr. Professional Photographer, you also registered as a couple and shared a room.
It's not what you think.
What do we think? Tell me, Comrade Wu Xiaoming.
It was Guan's idea to save money. There was a discount for couples. Buy one, get one half price. That's all there was to it.
You didn't have sex with her?
No, Inspector Chen, I did not. And even if I had, so what? It wouldn't mean anything. It's the 90s.
Guan was a national model worker. You want us to believe she shared a room with a married man for a week, just to save a couple of hundred yuan?
I've been trying to cooperate, but if all you want to do is bluff, show me your warrant and take me in.
Why did you call her on the night of May the 10th, the night she was murdered?
I make a lot of calls every day. I can't remember.
What about your message, "We'll meet as scheduled"?
It could refer to a photo session. I don't know.
Where were you on the night of May 10th?
Let me think. Oh, yes, I was at Guo Chiang's place.
Another HCC?
I don't like that term. But yes, his father was deputy director of the People's Bank. I stayed the whole night at his place.
Haven't you got enough rooms here?
Something was wrong with my darkroom. I went to use his equipment instead.
So you were with your friend all night. A solid alibi.
I hope it satisfies you.
We'll be satisfied when we bring the killer to justice.
Why on earth do you think I would have killed her?
Had you taken any photos of her like your work in Flower City magazine? Anything compromising?
Of course not. Not that any of that work is illegal. Really, comrades, you're wasting my time and yours.
We will see you again soon.
I have to be in Beijing for some government duties. You may have heard I'm in line for promotion.
I'm sure we'll find a way to get hold of you.
No need to show us out.
Oh, are you sure? The Wu Mansion is huge. Some people have lost their way here.
We're cops. We can find our way, however hard it is.
You handled him well, young hunter.
That bastard's the murderer.
But what was his motive? She wasn't pregnant, there was no other man. And he doesn't strike me as an Othello. He has plenty of girls to choose from.
All those naked models. Maybe Guan couldn't take it. Made an ugly scene.
I need to go to Guangzhou, track down Little Xie.
The girl from the travel agency?
I want to know what made Guan call her a whore. That will give us the key to Guan's relationship with Wu. Then we can get all this cleared up before Party Secretary Li returns.
Are you leaving right now?
Tomorrow. I need to make all the arrangements, and I suppose we should report to Commissar Zhang.
I should warn you. He wasn't too pleased not to hear from you yesterday.
He must be pleased with us now. We have our man.
You should have shown me these pictures before.
We thought they might turn out to be a false lead.
You should have spoken to me before going to Wu's residence. Didn't Detective Yu explain that I was awaiting your update?
I did, Commissar. He was very keen to speak to you.
I called first thing, but you were doing your Tai Chi practice.
You could have waited for my advice.
We have to go now, Commissar. I have to arrange my visit to Guangzhou, and Detective Yu
You
has
don't need to go to Guangzhou just because of some tourist squabble. Even if Wu and Guan had an affair, it doesn't connect him with the murder.
That's why I need to go. To make the connections.
He has an alibi.
From his HCC friend trying to cover up for him.
Some high cadre's children may have acted improperly, but it's an outrageous lie that there are many corrupt HCC in our socialist China. You are being utterly irresponsible.
Comrade Commissar Zhang, we have nothing but respect for our old high cadres.
But you're still going to Guangzhou. Have you considered the consequences, politically, if Wu Bing's son is a homicide suspect?
Everyone is equal before the law.
I'm not happy with how you two are conducting this case. Detective Yu's lackluster attitude. I will be recommending to the party committee that he be replaced.
It's all right, Detective. If people don't like the way this investigation is going, I'm the one responsible.
It's not just this case. It's your poem. I've been going over it. A rubric turns pure chance in your hands, and the result, like any result, is called history.
I'm glad it's made an impression, Commissar.
Chairman Mao said that people alone make the history. How can you say history is the result of a rubric? Is the poem about Tiananmen Square?
It's about our police work.
I believe you are a liberal, Chief Inspector Chen.
Are you going to fire me?
You know very well I can do no such thing in the absence of Party Secretary Li.
Then I have 3 days left when I'm still in charge of this case. I will go to Guangzhou and update you on my return. Thank you for your insights, Comrade Commissar.
Something must be done.
Thanks, Inspector, for standing up for me.
I could come to dinner tonight, if your offer still stands.
Welcome, Chief Inspector. As an old Chinese saying goes, your company lights up a shabby room.
We'll have to squeeze up a bit. Please, take a seat at the table.
Any crab banquet room is a great room. I appreciate your kindness. Where's your father?
Oh, he's out patrolling the market, keeping an eye on things.
I thought he'd retired.
old hunter enjoys anything he can do to be useful to the socialist system.
Pei Chin serves crabs in bamboo steamers, jusu sauce, and across-the-bridge noodles. She tells me where the name comes from. A wife taking noodles to her husband in his island cottage. He was a lucky man indeed. And so is Detective Yu. Pei Chin is an excellent chef. She makes dessert as we talk about the case and drink a bottle that Yu's been saving.
How can you afford to stay in Guangzhou? Does the Bureau's socialist budget stretch to the hotel?
It doesn't even cover a bowl of dumplings from a sidewalk stand. But luckily, I can stay for free at the home of the National Writers Association.
It's good fortune to be a writer and a cop.
Not so much when the bosses don't like your poems. But yes, it has some benefits.
What do you need me to do while you're away?
Keep your head down. With Wu's family connections and Zhang on the warpath, we can't make any mistakes or we'll be in serious trouble. Oh, it's all politics.
Politics or no politics, we're cops. We have no choice but to solve the case.
I agree. But I don't want you to get in any trouble.
We're a team, aren't we? Drink up.
I drink too much, say too much. Tell you he's the one with the good fortune. A lucky husband. He wishes me luck in Guangzhou. I get myself to the bus stop before I say any more.
Strange to think that Chief Inspector Chen should come to envy me. But he's right. I am lucky.
Go to bed now, Guanming. I'll join you soon.
The police in Guangzhou are friendly, but no help. There is no record of little Jia. I search the tourist districts, but end up back at the writer's home each night with nothing. Then I meet Ouyang, a businessman who loves writers and is thrilled to meet a poet. He's staying at the writer's home just for the chance to hang out with the likes of me. Relief from the monotony of business. He takes me out to dinner and turns out to know most of the madams in the area. I suppose they offer a different kind of relief. Ouyang offers to ask them about little Jia, and the next morning I find a note on my nightstand with an address and the line, "You will find her there. Have a wonderful day, Ouyang." I find the address, a dilapidated building with a doorman. I don't say I'm a cop, I just mention Mr. Ouyang, and am admitted inside. Where I find little Jia alone in her room, reclining on a sofa, in a bathrobe.
So, you are Chen Sao?
Has Ouyang told you about me?
Sure. He says you're special. My name is Jia Rung. Take a seat. Or do you want to get on with it? No need to be nervous. How about a foot massage to start with?
A foot massage? Why not?
Please, take a shower first. There's a bathrobe.
Why not? I'll never come here again. I've read about such things in a Japanese novel. Mishima, perhaps. It's meant to be an existential experience.
Ah, much better. Take off your robe.
Must I?
Must I help you?
I lie on the bed, on my stomach. She holds a steel bar on the ceiling, lets it take her weight as she massages my back with her toes. Ice and fire all over me, releasing the tension.
You make my feet warm.
It's the first time for me.
Now, what about the full service?
No. Listen, let's talk.
Mr. Ouyang has paid for the full service.
No, please. I didn't come here for that. I'm a cop.
What the hell?
It takes some time to calm her down, persuade her to not have me thrown out, that she's not in any trouble. She only really comes around when I offer to take her out to dinner. We get a private dining room, the sampan chamber, so we can talk. I tell her about the case. Little Jia stares at me in disbelief.
You know who his family is, and you still think you can bring Wu down?
It's my job, as a cop and a poet. Poetic justice. So, please, tell me everything you know.
It was the second day of the trip. I saw a light flashing in their room. I peeped in. It was a camera flash. He was taking pictures of her. She was nude, on all fours, legs wide apart. I was shocked and intrigued.
She blushes, still the girl she was before all this beneath the mask. Wu approached her, offered to take photos. She declined, but he persisted, said he saw something special in her. Lost innocence. He used up 5 rolls of film on her before Guan found out.
She went crazy, but so what? Who told me she wasn't his wife? I said, pee your chaste pee and see your own reflection in it. That's when she attacked me, scratching, screaming, as if she was a jealous wife, as if he really was her unfaithful husband. It was horrible.
Is that why you left the travel agency?
If I was going to be a whore, I might as well get paid properly for it, right?
Your mother is worried about you, Heroine. She wants you to go home.
And do what? Study literature?
Please, take care of yourself, little Xie.
I get back from Guangzhou on the same day that Party Secretary Li returns. I give him my full report. Everything from the phone records and the mountain trip to what little Xie had told me.
To issue a warrant on the murder charge. Taking nude photos of Guan amounts to a Western bourgeois decadent lifestyle.
A fashionable charge. But now, Chief Inspector Chen, we need to discuss a report made against you.
Against me? About what?
Your Western bourgeois decadent lifestyle, no less. During your stay in Guangzhou, you visited a massage salon.
To interview the witness. That was where she worked.
I've seen the receipt. You paid for the full service.
No,
Then you visited a private dining room with a prostitute.
Was I followed?
The Internal Security Service had been alerted to concerns about you.
Is this about Commissar Zhang?
If you've done nothing wrong, you don't have to worry.
Comrade Party Secretary Li, it was you who introduced me to the party. If you don't trust me...
I've told Internal Security that all you did in Guangzhou was necessary for the investigation, that you discussed it all with me.
Oh, thank you. I am most grateful.
They were talking about making a formal complaint. That's why I had to go out of my way. But I don't think there's any more I can do. I promised that you'd be busy with something else.
You want me to drop the investigation?
That is what I have promised them.
But this is a murder case. Why would Internal Security come after me and not after a murderer?
This is no ordinary murder case. If your hypothesis is correct, think of the effect on the party's image. People would see it as ideological bankruptcy, an excuse to slander the government. After what happened in Tiananmen Square last year. No. We must consider the case closed, at least until the wind changes.
What if it never changes?
You want the entire system to bend to you? I really can't see why you're so hooked on this case anyway. Guan strived to perpetuate her unsullied image in life. Why not let her keep it in death? Why persist?
I don't know.
You are to act as escort to a delegation of American writers. For now, I think it best if you have no further contact with the Special Case Squad. Is that clear?
Quite clear. Thank you, Party Secretary Li.
It won't be the first time, nor the last, that a police officer stops halfway through an investigation. What's the big deal? At worst, I'll lose face. At best, I might save my own neck. Party Secretary Li is not alone in wondering why I persist with this case. I go home and fall asleep, still asking myself, why?
Chen speaking.
It's Wang Feng. I know it's late, but I just found out your passport people turned down my application.
Sorry, I tried.
I don't care about the passport. I'm worried about you. One of the officers said you'd been suspended. Is it because of the investigation?
I haven't been suspended.
I've made a few calls. The case is more complicated than you think. People in high places are taking it as a deliberate attack on the revolutionaries of the older generation, with you as the new liberal reformer.
It's a homicide case, that's all.
Wake up, Chen. Wu knows a lot of people. And someone has complained about your poems.
My poems?
Evidence of your unreliability as a party member. Do you want to spend years in a cellar to reform through labor camp in Qinghai? Or would a bullet in the back of your skull be preferable? Please, stop beating your head against a brick wall, Chen.
Thank you for the advice, Wang Feng. But I will take care of my problems. And yours, too.
We can get my passport some other way. Forget me. Just take care of yourself.
I know she's right, but the truth is, I have no idea how to take care. A complaint has been made. Wu's connections are so high level. Party Secretary Li can't help me anymore. Wang Feng can't. Detective Yu... Who else do I know? Time is a bird. It perches and it flies. Since we parted, I've never asked Ling for help. That's not how we are, how we were. The poor student and the HCC, not like Guan and Wu. We were innocent, naive. Maybe that's why I persist with this case. I'm too naive to be a cop. The poet in me has never stopped believing, hoping. I still have some of the official letterhead in my briefcase. I write a letter to Beijing. I don't want it to seem personal. This is serious business, in the best interests of the party. It's the last card I have to play, my last hope. After all these years, its value might only be in my imagination. But I have to believe. Yesterday's dream is driven by the wind. Yesterday's wind is still dreaming the dream. 5 nights later, I escort the American writers delegation to a karaoke at the Sichuan Garden restaurant. I'm standing at the bar watching, when I see a woman coming towards me. She's older but still pretty, blushing, shy. I blush too as I realize it's Pei Chin.
Could I dance with you?
I would be honored.
Guanming could not think how to contact you. Old Hunter is sure you're being watched, so he had to find some way to tell you about the case.
The case is closed.
Yes, but someone called from a gas station near Shanghai Paper Mill. A witness who saw Wu's Lexus in Qingpu on the night of the murder. He has a copy of the gas ration coupon the driver used. It can be matched to the car's registration. Old Hunter is doing shifts for the traffic patrol, so he's keeping an eye out for the Lexus. If Wu is busy securing his ministerial position in Beijing, then someone else must be driving it, whoever drove it for him on the night of the murder.
That's incredible.
Keep dancing, Chief Inspector. There is more. Guanmin tracked down a model from Flower City magazine who saw Guan at one of Wu's house parties. She can give a witness statement.
But the case is still closed.
For Guanming and for you, it's not over, is it?
There is a chance I can do something, but we need to be very cautious. Tell you not to disclose this information to anyone, not even Party Secretary Li.
I will. I better go now.
Thank you, Pei Chin. And please, thank your husband from me for letting me dance with his beautiful wife. How wrong I'd been. Detective Yu could help me. He is not the only one. When I get home, a large express envelope is waiting, a reply from Beijing. The letterhead is that of the Central Committee of the Chinese Communist Party. The writing is businesslike. Mostly.
Dear Chen Cao, I'm glad you've written to me. I've spoken to the head of the Public Security Ministry. He trusts you wholeheartedly and assures you that something will be happening shortly. I think he is right. Time can make a difference, and time flies. Yours, Ling. P.S. I told Minister Wen I was your girlfriend because he asked about our relationship. You know why I had to tell him this.
I never expected her to help in this way. Politics had kept us apart, her father rising fast in the party's Central Committee. We knew we had no future together, But had we ever really parted? Has politics brought us together at last? She must have realized how desperate my situation was and used the power of her High Carder family to help exonerate me. At what cost to herself, giving up any chances with the men dancing around her. With Ling as my girlfriend, I now have connections in Beijing, just like Wu. One HC's son versus one HC's daughter. The next week I am called to Party Secretary Lee's office. Not much time has passed, but things are already different.
Take a seat, Comrade Chief Inspector. I want to talk to you about your new assignment.
What assignment, Party Secretary?
The Director of the Metropolitan Traffic Control Office is off sick. We need someone young and energetic to fill the role. I've recommended you.
Me?
As temporary acting director. Everyone has agreed. It seems someone in Beijing has endorsed my opinion of you as a brilliant and loyal young cadre.
I'm overwhelmed, Party Secretary. But I have no experience in traffic.
This is an emergency posting. If something were to change in regard to the Guan case, well, we would have to discuss that and I'll see what can be done. I give you my word, Director Chen, as an old Bolshevik.
I understand, Party Secretary Lee. Thank you.
It could be a trap. It's easier to demote me from a temporary position. Easier to connect me with malfeasance in traffic. But Lee trusts me. Even in the darkest of times, people have still trusted me. Lee, Ling, you, Pei Chin, even old Hunter, who I've barely met. Perhaps now I should trust him.
One of the causes of traffic accidents is people driving without a license. I want you to choose one particular area and stop cars for checkups. Don't just give the violator a ticket, old Hunter. Take him into custody, whoever he may be, and impound the car.
Good idea. You have to use a strong drug for a desperate disease.
My suggestion is to start with Hanshan Road.
Near the High Carder residences. No problem, Director Chen.
And report directly to me.
Like father, like son.
Oh, Detective, you can assist, if it seems appropriate.
Thank you, Director Chen. I'll get to work.
I get to work, too. I make sure no one is following me, and I go back to Qinghe Lane, one last time, to Guan's room. If Guan had something to hide from Wu, where would she have put it? Comrade Deng Xiaoping looks down at me from his portrait. I take it down, remove the board at the back, and find pictures of Guan. Naked, gagged, handcuffed. Some with Wu, some with a different man. With women, one wearing only a mask, manacled to a wall. Words are written on the back of them all.
14th of August. Somewhere between ecstasy and fainting out of fear. 23rd of April. Bleeding and screaming like a pig, then writhing like a snake. A national model worker, 3 hours after she delivered a speech at the city government hall.
A mask for a model. A model for a mask. Guan got hold of the pictures that Wu had used against her. She was going to use them against him. That's why she hid them. That's why he killed her. That was the motive.
Director Chen, this is Gua Chang. He was driving a white Lexus without a license.
Driving without a license is a minor offence.
The Lexus belonging to Wu Bing.
Excellent work, old Hunter. You can leave him with Detective Yu and myself to deal with.
My last piece of advice to you, young comrade Guo, use your brains. The game's over.
What game?
A cooperative witness may get leniency.
Have the car examined, especially the trunk.
No problem, Director.
What's all this about? Don't you know who I am?
You're Wu's alibi for the night of May 12th, the night Guan Hongying was murdered, isn't that right?
Look, just give me a ticket.
In
You've
your
got no
testimony,
right to...
you swore that Wu's car was parked outside your home all night. But this gas receipt and our witness prove otherwise. Did you provide a false alibi for your friend?
If this is about Wu, talk to him. Leave me out of it.
I wish I could. But look, isn't this you in the photo? With Guan Hongying, the murder victim? Go on, please. Take a look. Refresh your memory.
I don't know anything about this.
Think about what old Hunter said. Use your head.
I didn't kill her. You've no evidence to prove I did.
The picture alone will put you away for years.
Plus your false testimony. 15 years, I'd say. And I'll make sure you have a wonderful time in there.
You're threatening me.
Think about your family, your wife. If you tell us what Wu did that night, a deal may be possible.
This time I call the emergency case conference. Party Secretary Li, Detective Yu and myself, and Commissar Zhang. He's still seething at my good fortune, but surely now even Zhang will see I was right to persist, to believe in justice.
Wu's alibi has collapsed. It turns out Wu was in a rage with Guan after she tried to blackmail him. Told him to divorce his wife or she'd reveal the photos. Wu showed up at Guo's house on the night of May 10th, but it was later than he first testified. Wu had plenty of time to kill Guan before he got there.
That doesn't prove that he did it.
The hair that we found in the trunk of his Lexus does. A long strand of black hair. Guan's hair.
You're positive?
Forensics has confirmed it. Guo will testify about the false alibi and the pictures. We have motive, evidence, and a witness.
A witness who was a self-confessed liar? How do we know this Guo didn't commit the murder himself?
Guo was at home all night. Wu bribed him into lying, promised he'd pay him back with interest when he was promoted to cultural minister.
Bastard HCCs.
How dare you, detective?
Sorry, Commissar.
We just want justice to be done. I am prepared to resign if this case cannot be concluded.
Oh, it will be concluded, trust me, comrades, and justice will be done. But this is an unusual case, and it does not come at an ordinary time.
May I offer my advice, Comrade Party Secretary Li?
Of course, Commissar.
If arrests are to be made, it will be better for internal security to make them.
But it's our
keep
case.
the special case squad out of it. Their unorthodox methods may have solved the case, but from here on in, the party needs control of the matter.
Party Secretary, please.
Commissar Zhang makes a good point, comrades. Unusual cases require unusual solutions. You've done fine work, Director Chen. Shown great intelligence and persistence. It will not go unnoticed. But now you can leave the case file with me.
So what? We just forget it? Don't even get to see the look on his face?
Detective.
I'm sorry, I don't talk politics, but this is a...
There is nothing we can do. As long as he is arrested. He will be arrested, won't he, Party Secretary?
Go home, Detective Yu. Spend the rest of the day with your family. And Director Chen, you need to prepare for the seminar.
Thank you, Party Secretary.
Thank you, Party Secretary.
Director Chen, we'll make sure that Miss Wang Feng's application for a passport is processed.
Thank you.
I go to the Central Party Institute seminar, still wondering if the arrests will be made or if the case file has been buried. Perhaps Wu will suddenly appear among the delegates in his new role as cultural minister. But instead, a different HCC appears at the door of my hotel room. Ling.
It is so difficult to meet and also difficult to part. The east wind listless and flowers languid.
Ling, I don't know what to say.
You don't have to say anything.
You've no idea how grateful I am.
Oh, don't say that either. It is not so bad that I have to call myself your girlfriend once again, is it?
I've missed you.
I leave in the morning. We're only together tonight. There's no point repressing ourselves any longer after the years we've wasted.
We lie in each other's arms, far and above and beyond the city of Shanghai. I can see the white clouds pressing through the window against her body in the soft moonlight.
We're turning into clouds and rain.
It's been worth the wait.
Time is a bird. It perches and it flies. In the morning, another parting. 13 million people in Shanghai, and I am alone again.
Chen speaking.
It's all finished.
Detective Yu?
The whole thing. The arrests, the trial. Wu was sentenced to death, guilty on all charges. He was executed last night.
He didn't try to appeal?
The party authorities said it was a special case. An appeal would have made no difference. Guo was executed at the same time.
What? He hadn't committed the murder.
They were executed for crime and corruption under Western bourgeois influences. The party... They've turned it all around. It's not about Guan now at all. They're making it a national campaign against corruption at all levels and using it to show the hardliners that they can't stand in the way of reform. Not even the commissar will be happy.
It's not about him or Guan or any of us being happy. It is a political case after all.
But what a great job we've done.
The order of the axe has been schemed and plotted, and nothing can avert the final curtain's fall.
What does that mean?
It means I've played right into the hands of politics.
When you come back, maybe you could come round for dinner again. We'll drown our sorrows together.
That's a kind offer, But why don't you come over to my apartment, you and your family?
That'll be nice. Thank you.
Thank you, Detective. I'll see you when I'm back.
In Death of a Red Heroine by Zhu Xiaolong, dramatised by Joy Wilkinson, Inspector Chen was played by Jamie Zubairi, Detective Yu by Dan Lee, Party Secretary Lee by Daniel York, Commissar Zhang by David Yip, Wang Feng by Chipo Chang, Pei Jin by Sarah Lan, and Old Hunter by David Hounslow. Wu was played by Chris Pavlo, Ya Qing by Deborah Baker, Wei by Amelia Laudel, Bao by Sam Dale, Xie Kun by Jessica Turner, Lai Guojin by George Watkins, Little Xia by Evie Killip, Guo by Richard Pebble, and Ling by Rebecca Hamilton. The director was Toby Swift.